you the way you're enjoying that music. We are coming to learn today. Relax, 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 relax. How are you this evening? Yes, Paul, I can see. I was also just about to get carried away. Then I remembered, my God, we need to tackle performance management. Grace Mina, good evening. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. And Nelly Langat, how are you? You are the first one to come in and say hello, so we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being in with us this evening. You're totally, totally welcome, and we are happy to have you as we discuss um, another tool that you can use in your performance management. Um, Thank you, Badubi from Windhoek. Wow. And Samuel, hi, how are you? All right, so good people, it is amazing to see you again. For those who have been here on Tuesdays, welcome, welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This program is called Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Get It Right with Atara Solutions. If you want to know what we have been up to, you can check out our YouTube channel. We upload all our recordings there, and it is for you. You can go there for reference. You can go there to just take notes and just remind yourself what it is that we talked about as you try to apply them in the workplace. So we really, really appreciate you, and we would like to continue impacting. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm an HR consultant and trainer with Atara Solutions. I work, of course, I work with Atara Solutions, and we are in the business of changing the world through information. That is what Get It Right is all about. We have been here since 2020 June, and this is season 6. And if you want to see what we've covered, we've done quite a lot, from hosting entrepreneurs, giving their journey, to different aspects of your workplace. For job seekers, we have sessions for job seekers. For salespeople, we have sessions for salespeople. We've hosted government officials as well. We've had a number of sessions with KRA, had a number of sessions with a few other government institutions. So we try to change the world through information, one person at a time, and I hope those sessions have been impactful. Of course, we don't do this by ourselves. I am the host of Get It Right with Atara Solutions, and with me is also my co-host, Catherine Sidandi, who is our sign language interpreter. Catherine Sidandi does an amazing, amazing job at making us inclusive. By the way, if you know anyone who has hearing impairment, please tell them there's a secret that you've discovered, that somewhere where we are actually discussing real life things in an inclusive way. So we welcome everyone. I see we have people from Tanzania, United Kisumu, which is UK. I know we have a number of Rwandans. Hey, the other day they told me, Grace, it is Rwandan, not Rwandese. Sorry. And then we have a number of Ugandans and a number of Kenyans, etc., etc. So we don't do this by ourselves. Allow me to give a shout out to our partners who support us in making sure that we bring these sessions to you every Tuesday. We have Pathway Solution Services. Quite a number of you have been able to be trained by Sir Frank. He runs a HR consulting and training company, but most of what he does is training through an LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. He has quite a lot of information in there. Oh my God, he has a lot. So if you're the kind of person who wants to learn by yourself, then you can just sign up for Pathway Solution Services training. And then at the end of it all, you will get a certificate. So make sure you sign up. And if you're from Get It Right with Atara Solutions, of course, you get discounts. So make sure you look out for Pathway Solution Services, or get in touch with me and I'll be able to link you up with them. Then we have Profiles International. Profiles International, I like calling them people because they do a lot of things to develop people. They are the only people who have GNOS intelligence, emotional intelligence coaching certification. So if you're looking to become an emotional intelligence coach, then Profiles International are your people. We also have Elsamere. Elsamere is a restaurant, or rather a lodge located in Naivasha. It has one of the most beautiful views. It's such a serene place. By the way, if you're looking to write a book, please go to Elsamere. You will finish it. And I know for those who are authors can agree with me, finishing a book is one of the hardest things you can ever do. But however, if you want to take a vacation, vacation, solocation, whatever vacation you want to take, please go to El Samir. It's just an hour and a half away from Nairobi. And then we have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Steadfast Quality Solutions is a company located in Kampala, Uganda. This is run by my good friend Herbert Zaker, who supports us in sharing our flyers. Herbert Zaker, you're an amazing person. If you're looking for a HR consultant or a PR consultant in Uganda or even the whole of East Africa, then Steadfast Quality Solutions are your solutions for that matter. And then we have Nile Front Cottages. This is one of the most magical places I have ever been to. Oh my God. If you're in Uganda, please drive down to Jinja. It's just 1 hour away if you're in Kampala. Drive down to Jinja and just visit Nile Front Cottages. They have such an amazing cottages down there. And then they are right in front of Lake Victoria, where Lake Victoria meets River Nile. It is so beautiful. The sunrise and the sunset. Oh my God. And yes, they also run a restaurant in town called Sikiza, where they have employed only deaf girls and boys. And it's such an amazing place. It is such a beautiful place. You just go there and you feel like, oh my God, we should do more. We should do more. We should be more inclusive. So Nile Front Cottages is an amazing place. If you're in Nairobi, you can actually drive down to Jinja. From Busia to Jinja is about 2 hours. So you can just drive down, go spend your night in Kisumu, then cross the border and you are in Jinja and you can have an amazing time. Jinja is so beautiful and it has so many places to visit. It is just amazing. Then we have Labor Planet. Labor Planet are into labor outsourcing. If you're looking to outsource your casual workers, please make sure you contact Labor Planet. They have been in manpower outsourcing for a very long time, and they will be able to give you very, 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 very good services. And then we have Liaison Group. They're they're an insurance company and also into pension management, among other services. And then we have K Square HR Services. These are our partners in Rwanda. This is the company, of course, led by Stephen Karangwa. Thank you very much for also supporting Get It Right with Atara Solutions and just being a partner of Atara Solutions. And thank you really for the work you're doing down in Rwanda. We really appreciate you. And then we have Vanessa Training Institute, we have Wicklin, we have Kapla Mintito, we have Star Discover, and we have Essence Park Limited. So thank you guys for just helping us supporting our cause in changing the world through information. And we shall continue partnering, and we are really, really grateful for that. So tonight, I just want to hear on your chat, what do you think coaching is? Because, my friend, the definitions we have of coaching, I have never had. However, what are some of the issues that you faced when you're managing performance management? I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that you've faced when it comes to managing performance? And how do you do it? Or what are the challenges? Oh, wait. I'm assuming all of you have been managing performance. You, the day you were told to go for an appraisal, what came to your mind? Eh? Because I know the days for appraisal, we dread. In fact, you are not productive on that day as you wait. Giving guidance to achieve best results desired. That is on what? On performance or on coaching? Probably on coaching. Oh my God, I've stacked questions. But let's see, what is it that you've experienced in the process of performance management? Whether you are an employee, whether you are an employer, or whether you have gone through this performance management. And as I wait for you to tell us, yeah, Anne Miner says, appraisals give everyone cold shivers. I agree with you. Faith says, setting targets that are not smart. All right, okay. Yeah, keep the answers coming, keep your contribution coming, keep the contribution coming. Right, KPIs that are not measurable. I agree. Those are some of the challenges that we face. Those are some of the challenges that we face when we're doing performance management. But tonight, we shall be looking at coaching as a tool for performance management. And my friend, coaching calms you down. Since I took my coaching classes, I think I'll become a very different person. That is a story for another day. Maybe one day I'll grow up and become like our speaker tonight, who will tell us who she is and what she does. All right. So you can keep your contributions coming, but allow me, in the interest of time, to welcome Catherine Tolle to take us through coaching as a tool for performance, or performance coaching, and tell us also who you are. I know she's in leadership. She's been in leadership for a while. And maybe you can introduce yourself as I also look for you. I have to read your profile. It is very rich. But in the meantime, as I look for it, please take it away, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. I'm very impressed. I am so impressed by the numbers you have here, by the engagements, people coming from across Africa, different countries in Africa, really impressed. So my name is Catherine Tolle. My background is in HR. I've been in HR for over 20 years, but over the last number of years, my focus has primarily been in leadership training and development, and also in coaching. And that's what I do for a living. I am a leadership coach and trainer, but I also have a strong background in HR, having done HR for very many years. I think that's almost sufficient in form of an introduction. And I don't know whether you'd like me to just proceed, or you would like to say anything before I get going?
No. It is your time to shine.
All right, great. So today, CDI Africa Coaching Group is partnering with Atara Solutions to be able to bring this webinar to you. So if you allow me to share my screen, I will just start with just doing a brief introduction of who CDI Africa is, and then I'll dive into just talking a little bit about performance management. So our webinar today is titled Building a Sustainable High Performance Culture, because it's not just about that one day when we're looking at numbers, but how do we build a sustainable high performance culture? So like I said, today the partnership for Atara is with CDI. So who is CDI Africa? So CDI Africa is a coaching and leadership development organization, which is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya since 2006. CDI Africa is accredited by the International Coaching Federation since 2015. ICF is one of the leading bodies that then govern the profession of coaching. And so all our programs, everything that we run has been vetted, approved by the International Coaching Federation. And all the coaches that then are with CDI Africa have also been trained and with the highest global standards approved by ICF. We have a global outlook, but we're very Africa-centered and inspired. Who we are, our promise is we maximize human potential. Our vision is to be the center of excellence for leadership and coaching development solutions. And our mission is that we exist to drive sustainable high-performance cultures, not just high-performance cultures, but sustainable high-performance cultures. And our values are we're human-centric, so we prioritize people and ignite holistic greatness. We're transformative, we make a difference that lasts, we're accountable, we deliver to our promise, we're responsive, we're relevant, we're agile, and we're flexible, and we're collaborative. We achieve with our stakeholders. We don't just look to achieve, but we look, how can we celebrate success together with our stakeholders? So we offer 3 lines of service: organizational coaching programs, leadership and culture transformation projects. So we have leadership and coaching assessments. We have a leadership masterclass, one that we call Coaching for High Performance, and another that is Leading with Coaching and Emotional Intelligence. We offer global certifications. These are diplomas and advanced mastery programs, which are accredited by the International Coaching Federation. So any certificate you get from CDI Africa is actually internationally recognized. And finally, the 3rd line of service we offer is a global executive coaching center, where we offer one-on-one coaching and group and team coaching. Our impact and reach, we have trained 85 plus cohorts We have trained and certified over 1,200 coaches, and they are globally certified. And we have coached more than 700 executives. We have done this work across 18 African countries, and you can see them there. And I've seen some of the people on this call from some of the countries that we've been able to work in. We have actually partnered with two organizations who have been able to embody coaching and embed coaching in their organizations, that they've received global recognition. And we are home to the first master certified coach in the larger Eastern Central Africa region. Our founder, Eileen Lasker, was the first master certified coach. There are others now, but she was the first in the larger Eastern Central Africa region. We have accreditation from International Coach Federation, from Association of Coach Training Organization, from the Institute of HR Management. So these are just some of our accreditation. And these are some of the clients we've worked with. We've worked with various clients across Africa and beyond, even beyond Africa. And we are happy that we get good feedback and good reviews from these clients that we've been able to work with. So having said that, let me come now to the topic of the day. That was just a quick intro, so that then we can get to, you can get to know a little bit about us. So performance management, and I know some of the comments that were put in the chat, but let's have a little talk about it. Performance management, delivering results, getting people to perform is one of the most talked about topic among leaders. And in most cases, they don't talk about it as this very nice thing. They talk about it as a pain point, as something they need to unlock, as something they need to figure out. Every time I have a conversation with leaders and you say, what are some of the things you're trying to improve in your organization? Performance will always come up. What are some of the things that you think you need your organization to get better at? Performance will always come up. And the question for me today is why? Why is this one of the topics that is most talked about as a pain point, not as a nice thing, not as this thing we look forward to? And you could put some of those thoughts in the chat. Why is it that it's, whether it's performance management, getting people to deliver results, why is it seen as a pain point? Let's see some of your comments in the chat. So do we have some comments coming through?
Yes, I've seen lack of clarity in expectations.
Lack of clarity in expectations. What else?
Not setting smart targets.
Not setting smart targets.
Delivery of the feedback, how the feedback is delivered. I agree with you. No clarity on how performance should be measured and believability by stakeholders. It is the reason leaders exit to deliver performance.
It's the reason.
Yes. Stella says understaffed department always looks they are not performing.
Understaffing.
People don't like lack of resources, ambiguous expectations. It's a waste of time if not linked to rewards. Disconnect between individual and organization goals, lack of JD, not understanding KPIs and KPs, lack of resources. People don't like to be evaluated on performance. Ambiguous role. Wow.
Quite a lot of things coming through as to why, but it sounds, lack of clarity, not setting targets, just delivery of feedback, ambiguous. There appears to be quite a number of things that then are linked to it. And I'm curious here, Because then what then is performance management? What do we view performance management as? Because then as we say performance management, I've had people say appraisal. I've had people say, setting of targets. I've had people say feedback. I've had people say the staff, the number of staff we have. So what exactly is this performance management? So performance management is the process of continuous feedback and communication between managers and direct reports to ensure the achievement of strategic objectives of the organization. And I have two words underlined there. It's the process and continuous. Performance management is a process that's continuous. It's not an event. Performance appraisal is not performance management. That is just the day we sit to review. Performance management is a continuous process that happens throughout the year. It is a process that allows for ongoing feedback, ongoing conversations, ongoing alignment, ongoing communication, ongoing realignment, to just make sure that people know what they should deliver, what is expected of them, how they should deliver these results, how they will be measured on these results. And at the end of the day, the people get feedback on how they are performing on an ongoing basis. So then this dreaded performance appraisal time when people say, it's doomsday, then it doesn't become doomsday. Why? Because the process has been continuous. We've been having conversations continuously. We've been getting feedback continuously. We've been correcting what needs to be corrected continuously. We have been aligning where we need to align continuously. So it doesn't wait for an event. It's a process of continuous feedback. So that's what performance management is. It cannot be an event, because then if it's an event, we miss the whole purpose of performance management. If it is just that one day or that quarterly, half-yearly, end of year time when we sit to just, say, how did we do, what happened, and we are doing this over 20, 30 minutes, then we're not doing performance management. It's a process and it's continuous. So today we're talking about performance management and coaching, and how coaching then supports performance management. So allow me to then give you a definition of coaching. According to the International Coach Federation, coaching is partnering with clients. In this case, it could be your staff, it could be the people who you're supervising, in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Some keywords are underlined there. It's a partnership. So partnership is not a one-day thing. It's not something you do today and tomorrow it's not. So you partner in a thought-provoking and creative process, which then inspires people to be able to maximize their personal and professional potential. When people maximize their personal and professional potential, what happens? They're at their best. They perform at their best. They deliver good results because they have been able to maximize potential. So you see the connection between the performance management and the coaching. We said performance management is a process, it's continuous. Coaching is a partnership. It's thought-provoking, it challenges, it allows for a creative process that then inspires people to be able to maximize their potential. So unfortunately, what we have done over the years and what we continue to do, we have put in traditional approaches where, to manage performance, we have overbearing supervision and management, and all it does is create distrust and demotivate. We have very negative reinforcement, criticism, punishment. If you don't do, we dish out warning letters. The other day, somebody told me, in their organization, if you're not performing, you just receive a show cause letter. And the next thing you know, you're being fired. It just creates fear and resentment. waiting till quarterly, half-year, annual reviews, where we just make it an event. When we have the quarterly review, the half-year review, the annual review, that's when we talk about performance. But it fails to provide timely feedback. It fails to provide opportunity for improvement, and it creates anxiety in staff. Other ways that people do command and control. I'll tell you, I will, this is the line, you must all follow this line. All it does is stifle innovation and initiative. So people just wait to be told. Then we use the carrot and stick. There's a carrot, you do well, this carrot is dangled in front of you in various ways. And if you're not, there's a stick to whip you to getting to where you need to be. But that's short-lived and unsustainable. So allow me to propose to you this evening that there's a different way and there's a better way to build sustainable, high-performing cultures. And the better way is having human-centered leadership as the performance catalyst. So to achieve consistent high performance, then I'd like to propose to you that human-centered leadership is the performance catalyst. And what does that look like? So what I'm saying is, we want to achieve high organizational performance because that's the reason organizations exist, is to maximize value, to maximize profit. So they want to achieve high organizational performance. I'd like to propose to you that the sure way to achieve that, a sustainable high organizational performance, is through a culture transformation that allows for a safe and an enabling environment where there is higher engagement, which allows for higher productivity. When an enabling environment is created, people are able to perform at their best. People are able to bring their A game to work. People are able to be at work and deliver at their best because an environment that enables them to do that has been created. When that happens, people are more engaged. What happens when people are more engaged? They give discretionary effort. So people don't just do the bare minimum to get by. People are willing to go above and beyond to deliver results. So you have higher engagement. People are committed to the organization. They're committed to the mission of the organization. So you get higher engagement. And what happens when you have higher engagement and you have discretionary effort? You have higher productivity. What does that result to? High organizational performance. And all this comes from having human-centered leadership. So today I want to propose to you that if we want to have high organizational performance that is sustainable, what needs to shift is the way we lead. What needs to shift is that we need to have human-centered leadership, because human-centered leadership then becomes the performance catalyst that allows for high organizational performance. It is not pushing people, it is not driving people, it is not all the things we try and do to say, you will get this, you'll get warnings, we threaten, we do. It is the environment we create. It is connecting with people, it's engaging people where people then are able to deliver. So human-centered leadership becomes the performance catalyst that enables us to be able to get the results that we are looking for. So, and human-centered leadership is what activates the employee to engagement and productivity and ultimately skilled business performance. So what is human-centered leadership? When you hear the words human-centered leadership, what does that mean? What does it really mean? What words come to mind, or what phrases come to mind when you hear the words human-centered leadership? If you don't mind, you could put it in the chat and we could read and see what are the things that come to mind when you hear the words human-centered leadership. Grace, if you could help me read some of the ones that are coming through.
Veronica Ndaki says servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
Nelly says leaders got empathy to lead.
Empathy.
Paul Tanui says people's dignity and enhancement.
People's dignity and enhancement.
Liz says concern and welfare for others, human heart when dealing with employees, empathy, shift focus. Oh, okay, they're coming and running. Let me go back. Where are we? Guidance, intelligence, people inclusion and decision making, leadership that you make employees feel appreciated. Empathy has been repeated enough times. Being empathetic without losing authority, making people feel valued, modeling expectations, servant leadership, good listener, and problem solver. Focus on human. There's one that I was reading that disappeared on me. Concern about employees, leading with the heart, not just SOP. Yeah, there's quite a lot of that has come in. Give a priority to employees' well-being and focus on people, emphasis on growth, understanding your employees, firm but grateful.
Wow, they seem to be coming fast and furious. So
yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for reading some of those. So human-centered leadership is about a genuine intention to contribute to the well-being of others and to see them thrive. So you are, as a leader, you're interested in contributing to the well-being of others and seeing them thrive. And another definition is that human-centered leadership puts the human first. It means understanding that we are all human, and that doesn't stop when we clock in for work each day. Many times you'll hear leaders say, you know, you leave all your things, anything you come with right at the gate, and when you come in here, we are coming to work. But we are not two people. So how am I leaving what I'm going through at the gate and walking here as another person? So human-centered leadership is really just appreciating that the person is a whole being. They can't leave some things at the gate and then walk in to deliver work and then walk out and pick their problems at the gate when they are going. Those problems impact the way they work. So as a human-centered leader, are you able to be empathetic? So it is just understanding that we are all human, and that doesn't stop when we clock in for work each day. That is what human-centered leadership is about. And at CDI Africa, we have a human-centered leadership model that we train leaders on. We run a leadership masterclass on which we train on human-centered leadership. It has 6 pillars and it has 30 dimensions. And if I was to just go through it quickly, and I'll go a bit into detail in just a minute. So the first pillar is on foundation, the leadership security. Pillar 2 is on leadership trust and safety. You know, can you be trusted as a leader? So leadership trust and safety. Pillar 3 is leadership accessibility. Are you accessible as a leader? Pillar 4 is leadership that inspires creativity and innovation. Pillar 5 is intentional leadership multiplication, that you're intentional about multiplying leaders. You're not the only leader, but you're intentional about growing others so that then they can be able to also become leaders. And pillar 6 is leadership that inspires performance. So this is a model that has 6 pillars. Under each pillar, there are 5 dimensions. So this is a program we run over 10 weeks. But allow me to just, this model has been developed by Eileen Lasker, the founder of CDI Africa. But allow me to just use that model to bring in what is the convergence between this human-centered leadership model and a high-performance culture. So I'll just go through the same 6, but in a different way. So at the center of it is that we want a sustainable high-performance culture. We don't want a hit and miss. We don't want that our results were very good this year or this 6 months, and after that, we are not sure. We want high performance that is sustainable. So how do we achieve high performance that is sustainable? A culture of high performance and a culture that's sustainable. So we stop having the conversations around performance, all the time, and it stops becoming this really dreaded process, but we're able to building a high performance culture. The first one is leadership that is firm and secure. What does that mean? Leadership that's firm and secure means a leadership that is grounded, open-minded, secure, believes in the greatness of people, believe that people have the ability and the willingness to deliver, and leadership that is secure, that you're not threatened. When people shine, you're not threatened. In fact, you encourage them to shine. So it's about the mindset of a leader, the posture of a leader, what the leader believes in. Are they firm? Are they grounded? Are they secure? When we teach this, we do an exercise here, which we call a leadership iceberg, where we then agree and say, in an iceberg, you just see 10%. The other 90% is below the surface. So as a leader, what is below your surface? What are those beliefs and values and experiences and assumptions you have below the surface that make you the leader you are today? And we, just interrogate to see, are you grounded as a leader? Are you secure? Because if you're not secure, you then will not allow the people around you to be able to shine. So the first one is firm and secure leadership. You must be self-aware as a leader. And if you're self-aware, then you will know this, you'll be secure in yourself. You'll be grounded in yourself. You'll have a posture that, you're not concerned about, this one brought very good ideas. How come they seem to have very good ideas and therefore you try to stifle it? No, you're firm and secure in your leadership. The second one is creating a trust-rich environment. What does that mean? That you build trust with your teams, that you say what you mean what you say, that they can trust you, that you connect with people and you connect with them genuinely. You're authentic as a leader, that you show care. Empathy was talked a lot about. In a trust-rich environment, you show empathy, you show care. You're genuinely concerned about people and what could be going on in their spaces. You have competency because people trust you when they see you know what you're doing. So you're competent. So as a leader, you create a trust-rich environment, but you also create psychological safety. Psychological safety builds trust. And what is psychological safety? Is that you create an environment where people can contribute without fear, where people can ask questions without fear that they'll be asked what kind of questions are those you're asking, where people are free to bring different viewpoints, to have different perspectives from yours, and it's okay. And you're able to harness those perspectives for you to grow and become better, that people can be free to admit mistakes. So the environment, there's trust in the environment, people feel safe. People feel psychologically safe. They feel safe to suggest new ways of doing things, to bring in new ideas to the table, and sometimes to disagree with certain things, and it is okay if they have a different viewpoint, and you can engage in that. So creating a trust-rich environment where there is psychological safety. The next one is leadership accessibility. Being accessible as a leader, that people can actually access you. You're present, you listen, and when you listen, you really listen. You're not the leader who says, somebody comes to your office and says, can I talk to you? You say, yeah, talk, I'm listening. And you're busy typing, you're busy on your phone, you're busy writing. Are you really accessible as a leader? Do you say, I have an open door policy? Come. If you have any problems, you have any challenges, come. My door is wide open. But that door remains wide open, but very closed. People know it is closed. While it is physically open, people know, don't you dare go in there. So are you accessible as a leader? Do you allow people to be able to access you, to, talk to you when need to ask questions when they provided you're able to give that feedback. Where you need to, have new ways of thinking, you're able to do that. So are you accessible as a leader? Leadership that inspires creativity and innovation. Are you the innovator? Do you have the answer to all the issues? Or do you allow other people to innovate, to bring their ideas to the table? Do you listen to other people's ideas? Do you allow for multiplication of perspectives? Do you lead with questions where when somebody comes to you and says, I'm having this challenge, you then say, okay, what do you think we can do? So you're not always a solution provider. You actually get people to solve problems. What happens when you get people to solve problems? They begin to own the ideas they come up with, the solutions they come up with, the ways of working they come up with. So you don't become the person, everybody just comes and packs things at your desk, but you actually challenge them back. What have you thought about? What do you think we can do? And it allows for conversations. But what then happens is everybody becomes a problem solver. And as people become problem solvers, they come up with solutions, some even better than solutions you would have thought about. And in doing that, people don't always have to wait for you to tell us what to do. People figure out what to do and they do it. People figure out answers to their problems and they move forward. So everything is not dependent on you. And as this happens, there's ownership. People then begin to deliver results because they are owning them. They're making choices. You're allowing that space. And sometimes, depending on what the issues are, there could be times when there are mistakes made. But a lot of times, they won't be mistakes that cost the organization so big, but those then become lessons. They become opportunities for people to learn. Then intentional leadership multiplication. Do you intentionally multiply leaders? Do you grow others or do you suppress everybody? Because then as you grow leaders, as you stretch people, as you get people to perform at their highest potential, which we talked about it, that, coaching does, then you're able to multiply leaders. John Maxwell says that to add growth, you lead followers. To multiply, you lead leaders. So how do you intentionally multiply leaders? How do you intentionally grow people to also begin to build leadership mindsets, leadership skills, personal growth? Do you inspire them to grow? Do you equip and mentor them? Do you facilitate learning, experiential learning where they can actually learn from doing things, where they can actually try out new things and learn, where you provide meaningful feedback, feedback that's meaningful and empowering. When somebody does something, you don't just say, this is not the kind of work I expect. Okay, what have you just said? That person has no idea what that feedback meant. But you provide empowering and meaningful, which then says, this is what I expected, this is what you delivered, this is the gap, and you together find how can we then bridge this gap. But a lot of times we, throw general statements. People in this team are not performing, people are very lazy. Or what have you just said? So intentional leadership multiplication it also includes providing meaningful and empowering feedback that people can then take, learn from, apply, and get to do things differently. And when you do that, when all these things are in place, guess what? You're going to have a sustainable high-performance culture. You're going to inspire performance. You're going to get people contributing. You're going to get people bringing their best self to work because the environment is trust-rich and because they feel psychologically safe. You're going to get people who find solutions, who find answers because you inspire creativity and innovation in them. You ask them questions. You challenge them to problem solve, and therefore they find answers and they own them. You're available to listen. You're available for people to consult with you, to talk to you. You're accessible as a leader. Then you're intentional in multiplication of leaders. You provide feedback, you equip, you mentor, you grow people. And when you do all of this, and then with the first firm and secure leadership that we talked about, and then with yourself grounded and secure as a leader, guess what? The results that you get is sustainable high performance culture. So you stop just looking for these events where we say we are doing performance, we're doing performance. So they become events, but you don't build a sustainable high performance culture. What we propose to you is that for you to build a high performance culture where performance conversations become normalized and they become conversations that people don't dread, then it needs to converge with human-centered leadership, which then allows you to create an environment where people can perform at their best. So if you create that environment, if you lead with a human-centered approach, I guarantee you, and we've had lots of feedback from cohorts that we've trained in this, about feedback about how then they have been able to see a shift. Just yesterday, I think it's yesterday, I was having a conversation with a gentleman. He had done this class, and he decided, I want to try this trust thing. He had a gentleman in his team who, according to him, this guy was mediocre. And he was just like, I don't know why this guy just doesn't pull up. And he invited the guy for a conversation, and they had a very candid conversation about what he sees as the leader, what are some of the challenges. And the guy was also able to tell him, he told him about his own challenges, told him how he's so inaccessible as a leader. They really had a candid conversation. And they had that conversation, he told me it was about 6 months ago. He says, in the last 6 months, this guy, who he always said was mediocre, and as he looked at his star performance, this wasn't the guy. He says today, many other people could leave his team, but this guy has become his best performer. All it took is to start that conversation. The trust that had been broken started to be rebuilt, and suddenly there was a whole shift. And all it took is beginning to build trust. The person began to feel psychologically safe where they were not feeling that way before. And he says the turnaround is real. It is something he's able to see. And he actually now says, this guy is one of the best members of my team. So allow me to suggest to you that this is how you can create sustainable high performance. So if you want to build consistent high performance, don't drive performance. If you drive performance, you'll get short-term results. Inspire performance. How do you inspire performance? Through a human-centered leadership approach. And what we'd like to suggest to you is that the human-centered leadership approach is by becoming a coaching leader. You embody a coaching mindset, which is where you believe in people's greatness, you support people, you believe that they can do. You're present to listen, you build trust, you lead with questions, you multiply leaders through equipping them, mentoring them, coaching them. If you inspire performance, then you're able to get sustainable results. If you drive performance, you'll have hits and misses. You have, then you don't have. You have good performance, you don't have. So this is my challenge to you. Let's inspire consistent high performance, not drive performance. So I'd like to pause here, take any questions there may be. I know we finish at 9, so I know it's 5 minutes to 9, so I know we have room for just a few questions before I do my last slide.
All right, this is nice. I've actually put this on my WhatsApp status as we speak. on inspiring performance and not driving performance. And I hope the business leaders and HR professionals and any other person who is a manager or a leader or just in charge of a team, I hope that you are able to make a difference in the institution that you're running in terms of inspiring performance and not necessarily driving performance. But now, Catherine, there are these organizations that are very, very fast paced. Like they're very, like quick, 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 quick. How do you inspire performance in such environments? Like it's very results, 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 results.
And I think all organizations want results. They all want results. Yes, they do want results very quick. And I know there are environments where maybe the pace may be faster, but even as you run and try to get those results, it is remembering that as we run and try to get those results by just running and driving that performance, we then are not building a solid foundation that allows us to sustain it. So we need sometimes to just slow down enough and find ways to build this into the way we do things every day as leaders, so that we are connecting with people, we're touching base with people, we are having touch points with people that allow us to just build that trust, that just allow us to get people, and especially in environments like those, Nancy, that you talk about. If it's that fast paced, you want everybody to be a problem solver. You want everybody to be able to solve whatever situations they come up with. You don't want them coming back to you. Now, if you're not inspiring that creativity, innovation, problem solving, then they'll still keep coming back to you. Then there's this gridlock of everybody needs to come back to you for you to give us guidelines. So using this approach, even in that fast-paced environment, then you get people to be able to find solutions, own solutions, move forward with the solutions. So at the end of the day, no matter how fast-paced your environment is, this foundation enables you to be able to make sure that that is sustainable and that you keep achieving those results over and over again.
Wow, wow. And there's somebody, Brenda Namuli is asking on KPIs. Brenda, we had done a session on goal setting on our YouTube channel. If you can go there, you'll be guided on how to set KPIs for your team, and then you can now apply it in your context, so that then you're able to inspire performance for your hospital setup. I hope that's good. Carlo Washira, your hand is up. I'm gonna allow you to speak. And I don't know whether Carlo Washira, if you can speak. I don't know if they wanted to speak or it was by mistake. Okay. All right. And Jacob Etabo. Jacob Etabo, did you want to ask something? Okay. All right. So let me look at the other questions. You can put your questions on the chat, on the Q&A. Probably it will be easier to follow through. Yes, you will get the recording, and the speaker's been sharing screen, so you can be able to even follow the presentation there. What should you advise an organization that is, oh my God, please put your questions on the chat. I keep losing them because everyone is typing. Where is that question now? Where has it gone? Values well as human setup, every person's bottom line. Oh my God, I've lost that question. The recording will be put on the WhatsApp group the same way you receive the link. However, you can also email me. So somebody is saying inspiring performance in the park.
Sorry, I missed that.
Okay. I think everyone is just typing very fast. Yes, we will share the WhatsApp link. Jacinta, someone is asking for the WhatsApp link. You can share that. Paul is saying, how do you handle a CEO who never values feedback on any information given regarding performance?
That's interesting. So the CEO doesn't value feedback given on performance. So I think there's a mic that's unmuted that's creating a noise, I think.
I've closed. I've I've unmuted.
Yeah. So, and that's a real challenge, because then if you have a CEO who doesn't value feedback on performance, who doesn't value any feedback coming through, then it's likely. So that pillar one we talked about, they're open-minded, they're grounded, they're secure, they believe in others' greatness, they are open to hearing to hearing from others. It is likely that there's a challenge in that pillar. And unfortunately, then when that grounding is not there, then it becomes difficult. So, and that's why we're saying it's a culture shift. And that's the reason we usually, we run these programs for lots of organizations, the expert teams with CEOs in the meetings, directors of organization, because it needs to start there. If that shift doesn't happen there, then it becomes very difficult for it to trickle down, because their own foundation needs to be strong, secure, and that's the only way they can be able to trickle it down. So to answer your question, if the CEO is the one who then is not open to receiving the feedback, to be, is the one who is not, grounded and secure, is the one who is not able to inspire performance, it becomes a challenge across the organization. But now, if you're a leader within that organization, we usually say that in every culture, there are subcultures. It doesn't mean that we give up. It means that you, the leader who is aware, do that with your team. If you can do it with your team, please do it with your team, because you may not have control of what the CEO does or doesn't do, but you have control of how you manage your team and how you lead your team. So if you're the leader who is aware, then do it. And as you do it, sometimes we've seen those subcultures that happen beginning to influence others, because others see it and they're like, oh, it's interesting. That team works very well. That team coordinates very well. And you then find some of those begins to then permeate across the organization. So that's what I'd say in such a situation.
All right. And I've seen somebody asking, for an organization that has just started performance management, how often should the reviews happen?
So I think that's up to an organization. A lot of people do quarterly, half yearly, annually, but this is the one thing I like to say. Whether you choose to do quarterly, whether you choose to do half yearly, or whether you choose to do just annually, those times when you have formal reviews can't be the only time performance conversations happen. You need to have regular check-ins, whether informal check-ins every month, have a 10-minute check-in. How is it going? How are you doing? What challenges are you experiencing? So these conversations need to be ongoing throughout the year. They cannot just be pegged to what has been set on the organizational calendar at the time we do performance reviews. Why? Because then if we do that, we take too long to course correct if something was going wrong. We take too long to give feedback if there was something that was not okay. And at that point, then people are like, but if something happened in January and you're telling me about it in June, that is 6 months later. So even if, whether you do quarterly, half yearly, or whatever period you choose to do, normalize having regular check-ins, have regular conversations, find opportunities to just interact and know, how are people doing? Do they need your support? Are there any challenges they're encountering? How are they progressing in terms of achieving the things that they're supposed to achieve? So I'd say, different organizations could adopt different methods, but for me, regular check-ins are absolutely critical. in ensuring that you sustain high performance?
I agree. I agree on the regular check-ins. I think that's one of the things that has really even worked for us in HR consulting. For the companies that have outsourced their HR department to us, every time we do monthly check-ins with the leaders, it changes. It changes. It's like reminding them that this is where we were going. This is where the direction we were driving at. And how are you doing? How is your team doing? And it's kind of a wake up call for them. Then uh, somebody is saying, what if people start lying within their HODs or, yeah, unethical behavior?
Well, I don't know what here unethical behavior means, but so I'm not sure. Lying in terms of what they have delivered or what they've done.
Maybe the person can clarify on that. Wanja, if you can clarify. But as Wanja does that, is it the manager or the HR to do the review meetings and the regular check-ins? And how do you manage in a medium-sized organization?
So allow me to say this, contrary to popular opinion, HR doesn't manage the people who report to you. You, the line manager, are that people's HR manager. You monitor their performance. You guide their performance. You do the check-ins. So for the team that reports to you, the line manager, have responsibility for their performance. You have responsibility for how they deliver their work. A lot of people say, no, ask HR, go to HR. Actually, it's your job as a line manager. It is not HR's job.
Yeah, in HR, your work is to also check on your managers and teach them how to do it. Because some of them will not know. Instead of you getting the results you're looking for, they will, what do you call haragania in English? They will, they will magog your organization.
Completely.
Yes, they will kill whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So teach them what you want. And yes, I agree with that contribution. HR for non-HR, this is where it comes in. Yeah, I think we can take the last question and then you can continue. I'm guilty of some wrong things here. Thank you for this presentation. I purpose to change. I will inspire performance. How should an employee approach giving a manager feedback on their leadership approach, especially when it's negative, assuming psychological safety is not guaranteed?
So where psychological, and that's the importance of psychological safety. When there is psychological safety, those conversations come very naturally. When there is no psychological safety, then those conversations become very difficult because you will go give that feedback to your manager and you're told it was insubordination, or you're told you came to malign them. So when there is no psychological safety, it becomes very difficult. But possibly an opportunity to do that would be, because then I imagine you still have sessions where maybe when you're doing, whether it's your quarterly or half-yearly reviews, where you will sit and maybe, hopefully, the manager may ask, do you have any feedback for me? Is there anything that you may want to bring up? But then even as you communicate that feedback, you then need to communicate it in a respectful, in a way that's packaged well. Because if then you're giving feedback to your manager and you put it in a way that then comes off like an attack, they absolutely will not take it. They'll take it completely as an attack. And in fact, that conversation will go downhill from there. So even as you give feedback, what's the purpose of the feedback and how do you give it in a way that's meaningful, constructive, respectful, and that then doesn't create a sort of a feeling of you're attacking me or you're demeaning me or you're putting me down. So how do you do that? So those are then some of the things that you think about as you deliver such feedback. But it works best if, there is an invitation to, is there any feedback you'd want to give me? If there is no such invitation, I guess it's then to assess and see what is a good opportunity to have that discussion. And how could you approach it in a way that then, if there is no psychological safety, it doesn't then put you in a situation where you're having to defend yourself or having to be accused of insubordination.
Wow, wow. Leila says package your negative feedback to your manager. Where AI will give you the sweet words. And Catherine, I know I said that was the last question, but there's one from my friend Andrew Kawesa from Uganda, and I don't think we've taken a lot of questions from that country, so allow us to do that. I see all we need to focus on is sorting the leadership question. There's a group of leaders or supervisors who have been promoted based on their good performance in a junior role. So if somebody below them shines, they feel threatened. How best can you support these leaders, especially to have sustainable performance culture?
Thanks, Andrew. You ask a very good question. Now, think about it. Just think about all the organizations we've worked. People get promoted because of their technical capability. As an engineer, you're doing very well in engineering, you get promoted into leadership. As whatever it is, whatever line it is, whatever technical line it is, you get promoted because of your technical capability in that area. But as you get promoted because of your technical capability, nobody teaches you leadership. Nobody teaches you how to lead people. Then you're promoted and you're suddenly told there is a team of 10. You've never led anybody. You've never managed anybody. You have no idea how to communicate with people, how to set objectives, how to clarify expectations. You have absolutely no idea. But we get promoted on account of technical capability. And one of the conversations I am constantly having with HR people and with leaders is, even as you promote people based on their technical capability, please build their leadership capability as well. Because they don't know. If they've never learned it, they may have learned it by observing, but maybe they just observed all the wrong things. Maybe they were led by leaders who did all the wrong things. And that formed in their mind as the way to lead. So we need to be intentional about, even as we promote people for their technical capability, can we also build their leadership capability so that then they know, how do I lead people? So then in that case, when people look like they know better, they are shining better, they actually, as a leader, can understand, how do I harness that? And how do I not allow that to be a threat to me, but actually harness it so that then together we can work together and achieve more. So for me, I feel there's a big gap there that exists currently in a lot of organizations. And it's something that HR leaders, organizational leaders need to be very intentional in just trying to bridge, because then otherwise, I remember we trained a guy one day, he told us, him when he grew up, his father was commander-in-chief. He said, you had him, you ducked. When he went into school, his head teachers were like that. All through school, his head teachers were that way. He went to university, he didn't see a different model, and his first leader was like that. The day he got promoted, he had a chiefdom. He knew, I speak, they listen, I say, they do. He said, but that's all I had known. He says it took many years for him to get the shift to realize, actually, that is not leadership. That I'm not being an effective leader and manager by doing, but that's all he had seen. And unfortunately, that's what happens.
Wow.
I hope I have answered your question, Andrew.
I hope you have, but I think you have from where I sit. And the clarity on the person who was asking about lying is saying, if you realize that your supervisor is always lying on even the smallest of things, what do you do? Because the other people are also listening. I think you're back to how to give your leaders feedback.
Wow. Yeah, I think that comes back to how to give your leaders feedback, but that speaks a lot about integrity. I mean, if your leader has no integrity and they are lying all the time, wow. You've just been put in a catch-22, because even if you give them feedback, then the feedback will be taken, negatively, because in any case, they are used to lying. So that's quite a catch-22, but it's to then, I'm not even sure how you give your leader feedback and say, you're always telling things that are not true. So I guess it's to find ways, applying emotional intelligence to see, are there other ways that we can be able to navigate the situation, to just deliver this feedback, or then find ways to work around it Because that's difficult. Working under somebody who has low integrity, that's quite difficult.
Yeah, it is. The person who is asking, how do you manage performance for a startup? Please get in touch with me. Andrew is saying, I think you just ran away from this leader, the lying leader. I agree with you. But this is quite interesting. And I urge you leaders.
What happened? Did we lose Nancy? Okay, I don't know what happened. I don't hear her anymore. So allow me to go through my last two slides. And my last two slides is that there's good news. The good news is that the human-centered leadership model I talked about is anchored on the global leadership and coaching standard of the International Coaching Federation. So this model actually is anchored on the coaching competencies for leaders. So as we train it, then we are then helping you build the foundation of becoming a coaching leader. It's a tried and tested model. It has award-winning results, and this is a program we run. So we will put a link on the chat if you would be interested to just have a conversation around it. You can, express your interest, and somebody from CDI will get in touch with you. So you can enroll your senior leadership team to train in this masterclass. It's 10 weeks, or you can have a 4-day version. The 10-week, we run it virtually on Zoom, 3 hours per week. You can also enroll yourself to train individually through the Leadership Masterclass. We run an open program again. And we have the next class starting on the 4th of June. So it's also a 10-week virtual delivery. And you can also sign up to become a coach. You can sign up to become a globally certified coach. And, if you reach out, we can walk you through how to do that. You can get additional information. And this then, as you become a certified coach practitioner, then you can be able to champion the human-centered agenda in your organization. So there'll be a link for you to just reach out in case you would like to get additional information. So thank you for engaging with us. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your engagement and your questions. Back to you.
Catherine, thank you so much. I think Grace has been knocked out. The technology has done its thing, but yes, we are here. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I believe everyone has taken home something that is beneficial not only to themselves, but to the organizations that they work in or they run. Catherine Sidandi, thank you for your contribution for making this webinar to be inclusive to everyone. So I think we can call it a wrap. Catherine, do you have a parting shot?
No, thank you very much. If you have any questions, please reach out. Or it says the link doesn't work. I think one of our team members from CDI is on the call. Please share the link again. And I like that. There's somebody asking, can we have part 2? I guess, somebody from Atara will be able to see that. Okay, appears there's a challenge with the link. So Namwaka, if you're here, please try and sort it out and just share the link again. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your engagement. And yeah, I think we can say good night.
Thank you, Catherine. Good night. Definitely we'll have a part 2 of this. I believe performance is, like you have put it, it's a continuous process. So we will have part 2 of this. To those who are saying that the link is not working, kindly drop us your number by the chat. I think the group is full by now, but we'll figure a way of having you included. So kindly drop us your number. Catherine, thank you so much. Have a lovely night. To everyone else, good night.
Thank you, Jacinta. Thank you, Catherine. Well, That blackout you are talking about, Catherine, has happened to me.
It happened to you. Sorry.
That's how I missed out on your closing remarks, but I'm sure the YouTube channel, I hope it's continued recording.
Oh, wow. And I can see
Even
lots
as
of people putting their numbers there because they'd like additional information. So I think with Namoaka, you can be able to see how to collect the numbers so that she can reach out.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much, Team CDI. This was just amazing. Thank you, Catherine. You have delivered.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Atara. And maybe what Namoaka could do is just share the link with you. And since you have a WhatsApp connection, you can share it with everybody on WhatsApp, I think.
Absolutely, we can do that. Not a problem. Not
All
a
right,
problem.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much, and have yourself a lovely night.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you that you made it here. We really appreciate. Brian, I have seen you hating. Well, Brian, watch, I will come to Kampala, you will see. Thank you, and I hope you're keeping well, Brian. Thank you so much. Yes, good night, all. I can't hear you.
Thank you. I will also log off.
Okay.
Thank
That's all
you,
right.
Grace. All right,
Thank you.
bye.